Westerns and prequels have something in common with redheads. They have a bad reputation, and we don't see them that often, at least in video game format. Like, not just, well, you get the point. Point is, prequels get a bad rap, and we don't see enough Westerns. Red Dead Redemption 2 kind of bucked the trend of the former and gave us a ladder, which is just another reason to like it, but anyway. This game, Red Dead Redemption 2, is probably one of the best games I've ever played. It's definitely on my list of top favorite ones. And it really is a shame we don't see that many Westerns because usually when we do get one, they're really good. Or at the very least, they're memorable. Like, there was one called Gun. One I never got to play was Red Dead Revolver, but I've watched, like, YouTube videos of the gameplay. It looks fun. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. The second Call of Juarez game I forget, and I'm not even going to... And the Cartel one doesn't count as far as I'm concerned, but... So yeah, it's an interesting genre, and I like the fact that this game bucked the trend of prequels being bad. Like, I don't think prequels are bad in general. For some reason, they just have a negative stigma around them, probably because this is kind of probably to blame on the people who are still pissy about the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Maybe. I don't know. I tend to blame them for a lot of stuff, but anyway. Point is, it's a fun game. It basically is a tragedy. It follows the downfall of the Dutch Venderlin gang. And a lot of characters from the first game return. Well, yeah. Abigail, Jack, although voiced by a different person, and he's really young at the time. Javier Escuela, Bill Williamson. Did I say Dutch? Well, if I didn't, he did also. But, and John Marston. They got, as far as I can tell, they got all the original voice actors to come back, which is good. I like that. And then, one of the things I actually liked about this game was I hated Bill Williamson in the first game. In the prequel second game, they make him a very likable SOB. I'm not going to lie. He's very likable. But you have that, and you basically play as Arthur Morgan for the majority of the game. After it's over, in the epilogue, you play as John, but I'm not going to spoil it beyond that. And John, this game actually has a lot of RPG elements. Like, you can customize how you look. You can use different forms of ammo. And the diversity of weaponry is just... you have revolvers, pistols, shotguns that are pump action and lever action, rifles that are lever action. You have sniper rifles. You have double barrel shotguns, one of which can work as a pistol. And I'm just like, damn, now that is some diversity I can get behind, I'm not going to lie. That's my kind of diversity. And you work with a bunch of new faces as well in the game. You have a few women who... They more work for subterfuge, I think, or scouting. But you have the men in the game. You have Lenny, who is probably the only sour spot for me in that gang, because most of the gang have flaws. Him and Hosea do not. Hosea, though, he's likable to a fault. You have Hosea. Who else? Micah, who is the worst part of that game. Like, he is... I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but he called him a bottomless evil. I just say, no, he's a bottomless, chaotic evil. This is a man who lives for the action, stirs shit, and wants to be... Like, he's the kind of person you love to hate. So there's him. Javier comes back, which he's very likable in this game, weirdly enough. Like, he's like someone that you would want to have a beer with if you were into alcohol. There's the cook, whose name I forget. And... There's this one lady who joins up with the gang, but she's not a member of the gang technically. She's just someone who's with them for the moment. Sadie, you meet her in the prologue. And she's basically like a widow. And then there's John Marston, who's also part of the gang. And John Marston is probably one of the biggest reasons we have this game, because apparently the developers, from what I hear, after they made the first Red Dead Redemption... I swear, English is my first damn language. But yeah, they wanted to explore what he would have been like back then, because he says in the first game we were different back then. We all were. We changed. And so they kind of wanted to explore that, and they did this through Arthur. And it's a good game. If I have any complaint involved in the game, though, it's that I wish there were more interactions between Arthur and John. And then there were more bounty hunting missions available in the fucking story mode. Like, for God's sake, the bounty hunting missions were endless in the first game. Why are they ending in the second one, which is set before the first game? So technically, by logic, the first game shouldn't have endless bounty hunting missions either. But, oh well. You explore this very expansive world, which puts Skyrim to shame. So this is another reason why Bethesda needs to quit remaking Skyrim 10 fucking times over every year. You can hunt, you can shoot at other outlaws, lawmen, you can break the law, abide by it when necessary. But there are some missions where you do things where the law hates your guts for a while. You have to pay off that debt or go to jail for a while. And if you go to jail before the epilogue, or actually even after the epilogue, or during it and after, you can still get broken out of jail by your friends. Either that or your debt gets paid and you're let go. Like, there's one I never got, which was, I wish I had gotten this one. It was like Arthur's in prison, this guy's saying, they'll hang you in the morning, buddy. And all of a sudden there's an explosion. Arthur falls to the ground off his bed, gets his hand, starts waving away the dust, and all of a sudden he hears Dutch's voice going, "You coming, buddy?" And then he runs out. I never got that one. Then again, I avoid breaking the law as much as possible. I'm, unfortunately, a morally good person. That drives me nuts. But yeah, awesome game. If I had to describe this game, like, just to emphasize how much I like it, it's like the Sergio Leone of video games to Ghost of Tsushima's Akira Kurosawa. These are two games that I think perfectly represent a genre of film that we don't get anymore, or not that often. But they're in game form. So yeah, I consider this one of the best games ever made, at least for now. As of preparing this is one of the best games. I consider one of the best games ever made and one of the best Westerns I've ever played. And it makes me sad we don't see more Westerns, because Westerns are awesome. I think I'll end it there. And have a nice day. Pray for sanity. And for more Westerns.